Greetings to viewers and welcome back to the review program. In this program we will talk about the events that were hosted in Samarkand within the borders of 25th session of the UNWTO General Assembly. But before we dive into a more detailed discussion about these significant events, let's define what UNWTO is and what are its major activities. UN World Tourism Organization is a specialized intergovernmental agency of the United Nations system. The organization includes 159 member countries, 6 associated territories, 2 territories with observer status, and over 600 affiliated organizations. The activities are dedicated to developing the sustainable and universally accessible tourism. It is headquartered in Madrid, Spain. The Secretary General is Zurab Polorikashvili. The supreme governing body of the UNWTO is the Biennial General Assembly. The Executive Council is the governing body of the UNWTO and consists of the members elected by the Assembly on the principle of 1 for every full 5 members. The term of the members' office of the Council is 4 years. Half of the Council members are re-elected every 2 years. As the host country of the UNWTO headquarters, Spain has 1 permanent seat in the Executive Council. Uzbekistan, by the territorial division, is included in the European region. At the 24th session of the UNWTO General Assembly in Madrid on December 2, 2021, Samarkand was elected to host the new session of 2023. On May 29 this year, the sides signed an agreement on holding the 25th session of the General Assembly in Uzbekistan. In addition to that, they signed a memorandum on opening the International Tourism Academy of UNWTO in Samarkand. This day has come. From October 16 to 20, Samarkand was at the spotlight of international tourism. On the first day, President Shavkat Mirziyoyev arrived to Samarkand and officially opened the 25th session of the UNWTO General Assembly.
President Shavkat Mirziyoyev participated in the opening ceremony of 25th sessions of General Assembly of World Tourism Organization (UNWTO). In his speech at the main forum of the Global Tourism Organization, attended by representatives of more than 140 countries, the head of state put forward a number of important initiatives for further development of the industry. The head of Uzbekistan said that as a part of the strategy for comprehensive tourism development until 2030, priority attention will be given to the creation of modern tourism and transportation infrastructure, new new high-speed roads and railroads will be built. The air fleets will be doubled, and the number of flights will be fourfolded. 30 large touristic clusters will be created in big cities and places frequently visited by tourists. According to the national program Pearls of the Ancient History, the number of cultural heritage sites attractive for tourists will be increased from 800 to 2,500. 745 cultural heritage sites will be restored. Open-air museums will be created in 20 architectural monuments. Under the pilgrimage tourism program, the number of tourists will be more than the triple from the current figure. The focus will be on the creation of joint touristic routes with Central Asian states. At the same time, the leader of Uzbekistan noted that today the most urgent problem of global tourism is to ensure the guaranteed system of tourist safety. In order to strengthen a solid legal framework in the sphere of international tourism, the head of state suggested the development of global code of safe tourism under the UN system. In the context of growing problems of climate change, the importance of adopting international program of action for green tourism was emphasized. As a practical step, it was proposed to establish nomination best city for the implementation of green tourism within the framework of UNWTO. In order to further improve conditions for travelers with disabilities and develop inclusive tourism infrastructure, the President of Uzbekistan called for declaring 2025 as a World Year of Inclusive Tourism and adopting a special declaration. The leader of the country also urged the delegates to support the initiative to declare Samarkand as a world capital of cultural tourism and adopt the relevant declaration. At the end of his speech, the President of Uzbekistan expressed his best wishes for the success of the General Assembly and achievement of the new progressive results.
We have talked to some of the attendees of the General Assembly, and they shared their views on the speech of the President Shavkat Mirziyoyev and the keynotes that they have highlighted for themselves.
Travel and tourism is very important globally. It represents about 10% of the global GDP and 10% of the global jobs. And it is expected, as per of the World Travel and Tourism Council, that the number of international arrivals will double by 2032. And therefore, tourism is important. It is important for Uzbekistan. You have an amazing and beautiful country, and you have a very helpful and nice people. And I'm very, very sure. I said this to my colleague, Minister Aziz, that you have everything to create a very successful tourism industry.
Today, the main takeaway I took when I was listening to the president, I said, Uzbekistan, this is really meeting the past, the rich culture and history of Samarkand, with the points raised by the president, the ambitious plan Uzbekistan has to develop tourism. Yeah? And I say not only tourism and infrastructure, but also the youth program or the media program, the media forum, he raised in his several points there. So I said this is a very ambitious plan, and I'm very glad to hear it, especially as a media. I'm glad to hear also his very ambitious plan for the media.
The first one being the issue of learning, but also number two on the issue of investing on the green energy. Under the tourism, to be able to have sustainable tourism, but also number three on the issue of making sure that we also involve the media, as the platform to showcase our tourism, but also to advance our tourism. And he has also made a proposal to make sure that there is an establishment of a proper council or platform, which will include some of the journalists, social influencers, the travel bloggers and others. So I think for this one is a very key body.
On that day, we also got the opportunity to talk with the Secretary General of Economic Cooperation Organization, who has also attended the opening ceremony and shared his views on the President's speech.
I believe that this event not will contribute to the further development of the tourist sector in Uzbekistan, but in entire Central Asia and in entire region of Economic Cooperation Organization. And I would like to congratulate the government and people of the Republic of Uzbekistan for successfully hosting and convening such an important event.
In his opening speech, President Shavkat Mirziyoyev put forward a number of initiatives. What is one of those initiatives that you have highlighted for yourself?
The main theme which we got for our organization is to develop further our regional organization because, you know, we are 10 member states, and these 10 member states are rich in culture and history. And there is built-in beauty in our region. In pre-pandemic period, the region received more than 87 million international tourists. But of course, pandemic had created some difficulties, but we are now in the recovering process, and through a roadmap on facilitating the recovery after COVID-19 pandemic. This is the main topic that we got for our organization. It's a cooperation and coordination among member states on the developing tourism sector in our region.
Based on your observations during these days of the events in Samarkand, what would be your key recommendations to the government of Uzbekistan?
A lot of things done in the area of tourism to attract. First of all, I would like to say I'm very glad to see the very friendly people in this country, which is very close to my native country, which is Tajikistan. So you know this historical links between Tajiks and Uzbeks. So the most important element, of course, it's a people, and the infrastructure is established. As I heard, you have built a lot of hotels during last years, and you expanded the geography of your flights. You are building roads, bridges to make connection and interconnections more easier with the other nations and countries.
Thank you so much for this interview. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
You are welcome.
On October 17, within the borders of the General Assembly, a Global Investment Forum was hosted in the Expo Center. The event gathered foreign investors from around the world and the representatives of the various tourism structures. In addition to that, Uzbekistan presented its tourism potential at the cultural exhibition.
The project New Uzbekistan. What New Uzbekistan means? Government started to invest in infrastructure. Invest to Uzbekistan, and thank you for your attention. Katta rahmat.
Global Investment Forum was also a big hub to demonstrate Uzbekistan's rapid growth tourism. According to Aziz Abduhakimov, Minister of Ecology, Environmental Protection and Climate Change, Uzbekistan is ready to improving the quality of tourism services by creating new incentive mechanisms, supporting innovative startup projects, and investing in tourism education. At this forum, Uzbekistan presented investment projects worth $3 billion. For the short period of time, Uzbekistan achieved a lot in the tourism sector. The rate of VAT has been reduced from 20 to 12%. More than 7,000 raw materials and goods required by investors are now exempt from customs duties. The government has cancelled 500 business regulations, and a further 70 state functions have been transferred to the private sector through public-private partnerships. Delegates from more than 100 foreign countries, foreign investors, as well as 600 local companies visited to attend this forum. To demonstrate the tourism potential of Uzbekistan, to investors, all regions of country are showcasing their tourism products. This includes free tourism and recreation zones, and the infrastructure plans of Uzbekistan Railways, Uzbekistan airports, and Uzbekistan helicopters. There are also created exhibition stands of Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, as well as 4 international startup projects. Foreign investors had a chance to learn about economic and investment outlook, competitiveness and value proposition of Uzbekistan regarding tourism sphere. Over 700 investment projects worth almost $2 billion in capital investment were recorded last year. More than 1,500 projects were announced between 2019 and 2023 that amounted to $4.3 billion. Overall, the participants not only learned about the investment opportunities, but they were also given opportunity to invest in the projects here.
It's a window for all of us to see all the wonders of your country, to know all the projects that your government is doing for the future, and to see how we can collaborate together and help also Uzbekistan to become a more successful tourism destination. All the people I am meeting, I love your hospitality, I love the warm welcome that you have given us, and I'm looking forward to knowing more about Samarkand and more about Uzbekistan.
The Investment Forum is a great opportunity to look over the global trends, the current demands in the tourism sector. But how are these global trends represented in numbers? So let's analyze the current trends in numbers. This year, in January to July, 700 million people traveled around the world. The highest number of tourists was in July. During this period, 145 million people made a tourist trip to one state or another. Growth rates were particularly high in the Middle East, Europe, and the African region. For example, the number of travels heading to the Middle East increased by 20%, with the travel services being the only region to show the highest growth from 2019. The lowest numbers were recorded in the Asia-Pacific region. The destinations most visited by the tourists are France, Spain, USA, Turkey, and Italy. Now, when it comes to Uzbekistan, 4,300,000 tourists arrived in the country in the last 8 months. The industry earned $1,400 million. The number of domestic tourists increased by 15 million, which is 2 times more than last year. Tourism infrastructure is developing in the country. Since the beginning of this year, 15,000 new guest places have been created, bringing the number of 137,000. 70 tourist routes have been opened. Also, 6 private airlines started their operation. 23 new airplanes were imported. The number of weekly international flights at Samarkand Airport increased from 46 to 85. The inflow of tourists from the distant countries has also increased. In Uzbekistan, for example, the number of tourists from India, Japan, USA, and Italy has increased 3 to 4 times. As the result of the discussions during the panel session, the ministers of tourism from around the globe made a conclusion in regards to the most essential areas to invest into. In particular, they claimed that investors should mainly put focus on education, connectivity, and sustainable tourism, meaning that development of tourism shouldn't negatively impact on the environment. On October 18, the Congress Hall gathered all the participants on the first plenary session of the General Assembly.
That was what
what was the best strategy we have to develop together as a nation, together as a government, together as a UNWTO to make sure we are welcoming the tourists. We tackle problems like sustainable tourism because we need to invest on the green tourism. It's really good to try to develop tourism, but as well we have to make sure we're going to take care of our environment. And other than that, we talk about investing in right people. That's something really important, investing on people, give them the skills they need to take care of this new form of tourism. We talk about digitalization as well because, the tourism changed the paradigm. Right now we talk about information technology, how we can use this technology to promote tourism.
The most important thing is we are talking about some organizational procedures in the system of the UNWTO. This is discussed amongst many subjects of the General Assembly of the UNWTO, and also we are here also to attend many sessions that talking about many important subjects about tourism, like sustainability and like of course the education, tourism education, and we know and we are very proud that Uzbekistan is establishing the new educational firm here, tourism educational firm, and this is a very important firm. It will impact it dramatically positive to those who want to know more about the tourism all over the world. So we are encouraging the establishment of this one.
Next day, the General Assembly served as a platform for educational opportunities in the tourism sector. In addition to that, the awarding ceremony for the best villages around the world in 2023 was hosted.
The Deputy Chairman of Organizing Committee of Uzbekistan for UNWTO General Assembly in Samarkand, Aziz Abduhakimov, opened the forum with his speech.
Education is a central pillar for achieving the ambition targets outlined for tourism and every other sector in the UN Sustainable Development Goals. In Uzbekistan, we recognize the significance of education in tourism, which involves imparting knowledge to students and helping them develop their skills to prepare them to careers in the industry.
According to the global statistics, the sector had up to 50% of all its workers aged 25 or younger. In particular, people in between this age gap accounts for 1.2 billion. Of those, 10% are unemployed, and 14% still need to complete upper secondary education in 2022. The list of leading countries in the tourism education includes Switzerland, the USA, UK, France, China, and others.
Within the last 3 years, the number of specialist higher education institutions has increased from 16 to 30, and the number of students have increased from 4,100 to 11,500. The number of researchers and academic staff has also increased dynamically.
The forum held a plenary session of ministers with the participation of education and tourism leaders from 10 countries. They discussed policy issues related to fostering innovation and education for the current and future generation in the tourism industry. The discussion explored opportunities for establishing new rules, effective tools, and global cooperation to support inclusive and sustainable tourism development, addressing the shortage of skilled professionals and creating job opportunities.
The education is the priority, so with no education you cannot do nothing. The education is the future. You need to know that today we have the youngest population also in your country and all over the world, also in Africa. If you want to have the best thing and to be on the top, we have to make the priority on the education.
The session provided a holistic approach that considers the diverse needs of the students at various stages, from secondary schools to higher and executive education, which is essential to meet the growing needs of the tourism industry. One of the day's significant events was a special presentation on a tourism academy in Uzbekistan, highlighting the country's commitment to investing in tourism education and its partnership with World Tourism Organization.
Now, the reason why I brought up these examples is to demonstrate that what we are doing here with establishing this academy and by focusing on education in the sector is really aligned with the market demands and demands of the businesses here and has the power to bring real, tangible economic benefits. I very much hope that tomorrow our honorable delegations will be able to see the results of our long long-term work with the Academy, and you will be able to appreciate it. We will have an opening tomorrow, so everyone is welcome. Thank you very much.
After the Global Education Forum of the 25th UNWTO General Assembly, the second half of the day also included several important events. One of them was the Best Tourism Villages 2023 awarding ceremony. As part of the Global Education Forum of the 25th UNWTO General Assembly, the Best Tourism Villages of 2023 awarding ceremony is going on here. The villages in the countries that help to boost the tourism potential are being nominated here. Best Tourism Villages by UNWTO was launched in 2021 as part of the organization's work to make tourism a driver of the rural development and well-being. To date, over 70 villages from almost 40 countries have been recognized as Best Tourism Villages. A further 40 have been selected to participate in the upgrade program, where they benefit from expert mentorship and networking opportunities.
The eye is perfect, but it is not our essence. We know imperfection. This imperfection is good. It's true. It's human. We are.
The villages in the upgrade program will also join the Best Tourism Villages network, which today numbers over 100 members in 5 world regions. During the awarding ceremony, the village of Sentop in Navoy region of Uzbekistan was also nominated as the Best Tourism Village. The applications were evaluated by an independent international advisory board, consisting of experts in the different fields, based on 9 areas, including sustainability, infrastructure, connectivity, and tourism value chain integration. We also had a chance to talk with some of the winners of the event.
Job in our works, and so is a confirmation that we work good, work well, and I invite all the countries, all the people to visit us and visit Portugal and Manteigas, Aldeias Montanha. Uzbek, I'm very surprised about this country. The people are very humble, very similar to my village, and it's an honor to be here.
This awarding ceremony gave a chance to the countries to demonstrate the lesser-known places worldwide and improve tourism sector.
The 25th session of the UNWTO is the great opportunity to promote Uzbekistan's tourism potential. We have talked to the tourism ambassador of Uzbekistan in the UK, Sophie Ibbotson, who shared her views on that matter. What are the challenges and opportunities in this sector?
I think the biggest challenge facing the tourism sector at the moment is how to balance typical consumer behaviour with sustainability. A lot of people during the pandemic were forced to have a rethink about what they wanted. A lot of tourists have decided what they want to do is spend all their time travelling and go to as many places as they want, but that is not something which is sustainable, and we know that the threats to the environment, to human health, to communities is a big problem, and we have to be very cautious when we're planning our tourism development to balance those things. We can open our doors to millions of tourists, but it can have a detrimental impact on the environment and on the communities which are hosting, as well as on the individual travellers.
So at the first plenary session, the minister said that Uzbekistan plans to reach a goal of 10 million people to visit Uzbekistan. To what extent is this possible, and how can Uzbekistan achieve these indicators?
In 2023, we're expecting to have had 7 million visitors, so it is a significant increase in 1 year to reach the $10 million visitor figure. I don't think it's impossible. There are plenty of ways we could do it. However, my question is that the right metric to be using for the success of our tourism? Because to me, it doesn't matter how many tourists who come. What is important is the economic contribution they're making to Uzbekistan. If we have 10 million tourists and they're only spending a couple of $100s each, or if the money they're spending is spent with foreign companies who are then repatriating their profits back home outside of Uzbekistan, that's not good for Uzbekistan. We're much better to focus on the value that tourists bring. So I would like to see a metric which is the value of the tourism to Uzbekistan's economy and the number of jobs created, because that is much more tangible and useful to Uzbekistan than simply counting the number of people who come across the border.
You are actively promoting Uzbekistan abroad. So based on that, what are the first associations with tourists when it comes to Uzbekistan?
Lots of people haven't actually heard of Uzbekistan and they don't know anything about it. But those who do know a little, but perhaps haven't visited, know about the Silk Road. They have heard of Samarkand, they have heard of the Registan, and they have a fairy tale image of the country and its history. And to some extent that's good for us because people want to experience that fairy tale for themselves. They want to see the monuments and learn about the history of the Silk Road. However, I think we need to expand people's understanding of Uzbekistan beyond that, because Uzbekistan is not just its history, it's not just its monuments. It's a very diverse country. It is a huge breadth of places and experiences to offer. And by educating potential tourists, we can attract a much broader range of people. We can spread the benefits of tourism within the country, and we can make sure that many more people enjoy the tourism experience, both as hosts and as tourists.
As a result of these events in Samarkand and the overall General Assembly, what will be your key recommendations in the tourism sector, especially for Uzbekistan?
To boost international tourism at the moment, we need to focus on improving connectivity. Several of the, or many of the speakers have mentioned this week that they had to fly via other cities to reach Samarkand. They could not fly here direct. So if we want to encourage people to come, we need to ensure that the direct flights are in place. That becomes particularly important at the moment because a number of the routes that people might have taken to reach Uzbekistan by train, for example, in theory it would be possible to take the train from Europe via Russia to Uzbekistan or to come through Turkey and Iran to Central Asia. Those routes are not currently possible because of the political situation. So we are very much reliant on air travel for tourists who are coming long distances. Obviously from neighbouring countries we can use rail and we can use road, but for those who are coming from long distances we need to have the aviation connectivity there to be able to receive them.
Thank you so much for dedicating your time for this interview. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, I enjoyed it.
This high-skill event, which lasted for 5 days, will certainly leave a positive mark on the global tourism map. We hope this event will be a great start for the tremendous opportunities and developments and innovations in the tourism sector of Uzbekistan. Thank you, dear viewers, for watching this program, and see you in the next episodes.